Was the Public Enterprises Minister going to appeal this court ruling, providing power to essential services? They're trying to exempt them from this. Now, on Friday, the High Court in Pretoria ruled that it would be public schools, hospitals, clinics and police stations that will not be getting rolling blackouts. But the Public Enterprises Minister has raised concerns, not just saying no, there are concerns, he says, about the implications of the ruling. Now, to remind you, stage 6 blackouts is where we are at the moment. Now, depending where you live, that means you don't have power every single day between 6 and 12 hours daily. That's if you're lucky enough, if your power comes back on after the load shedding. That's another discussion for another day. Advocate Paul Hoffman joining us, Director of Accountability Now. Advocate, good to have you with us. I was one of those people yesterday. I think if I had to count, I probably had 2 hours of power yesterday. But you and I can shout about that another day. Do you agree with the minister or don't you agree with the minister? Good morning.
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to your viewers. I'm afraid the minister has got a very difficult task if he thinks he's going to be able to overturn the judgment. And I say that because the Constitution says that the state must respect, protect, promote and fulfill the human rights guaranteed to all of us in the Bill of Rights, which is Chapter 2 of our Constitution. Now, it is so that the right to healthcare, or access to healthcare, is a right that can be rolled out or progressively realized, as the Constitution puts it, on the basis of available resources. But that does not apply to emergency medical treatment, which may not be refused at all in terms of the Constitution. However, with the rights to basic education and the rights to safety and security, these are not hedged about with weasel words like available resources and progressive realization. They have been claimable in full since day one. So the government has to make a plan. And we hear the wailing and the gnashing of teeth in relation to what may happen to the grid if schools, hospitals and police stations are given a continuous supply of electricity. But of course, you don't have to rely on the grid to keep the lights on in these institutions. Your insert dealt with the solarization of hospitals, and that could be done at police stations. It could be done on a much wider scale than is being done at the moment, and it obviously does not affect the grid at all.
Well, we just saw that story down in Cape Town, didn't we, Advocate, where one of the hospitals in Cape Town, they've turned their entire parking lot essentially into one big solar panel. It's made a difference there as well. So what I'm hearing is that there is a way of doing this that won't affect the grid if government just thought differently about a solution. Is that my understanding?
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's not as though the court has ordered that the grid needs to be tampered with. The order of the court is that schools, hospitals and police stations need to have a continuous supply. And the way that is done is not limited to Eskom, which has problems of its own due to the high levels of corruption and dysfunction in Eskom that are a story for another day. But it gets better for the applicants in the case and worse for the minister, because the question of available resources is a vexed one in South Africa at the moment. The Treasury will tell you that the cupboard is bare, but what ought to be in the cupboard is the loot of state capture. That amounts to somewhere north of R1 trillion. A huge amount of money has been stolen in the state capture process. A lot of it has been taken offshore because kleptocrats do not like to keep the money at home. And it is possible, using asset recovery services worldwide, to rake back loot. That's three, four-letter words, but it is what could be done in order to finance the purchase of generators for small police stations, the installation of solar for schools and hospitals and clinics. All of that can be done because those resources are available in the sense that they are there to be raked back by a proactive and politically willed institution that can do the asset recovery. There's no political will at the moment to recover those assets because they have to be recovered from the ANC and the ANC's friends. Remember, the president called the ANC accused number one when he gave his evidence at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into state capture. That money can be used to make the court order that the minister wants to appeal real, rather than the subject matter of an unnecessary and ill-advised appeal.